having me on today. I know there's a lot of other vendors you could have invited, and to have asked me, I really appreciate it. So I may know some of you from a previous life. I'm not sure. I started at Scenic and Emerald Cruises about 2 years ago. And prior to that, I was actually with Paul Gauguin Cruises, selling a lot of Tahiti. If any of you are familiar with Paul Gauguin, and I actually was at Oceania for 9 years before that. And then I was at the real and first and only Crystal Cruises in my heart when they first started up long, long ago. 15 years I spent there. And then I actually started my career working on the Love Boat. So I've just dated myself. But I wanted to let you know that Scenic and Emerald Cruises is a lovely, lovely company. We're actually one company with 2 brands. So it gets a little confusing. We do call ourselves the Scenic Group, but that consists of Scenic Luxury Cruises and Emerald Cruises. And we have both the river ships throughout Europe and Southeast Asia, as well as the luxury ocean yachts circumnavigating the world, actually, because the Scenic yachts that you see on the bottom left are sailing in Antarctica and the Arctic regions. And when they're not there, they are sort of circumnavigating the globe, going through the Mediterranean and up through the Northwest Passage, and then down through South America, along the west coast of United States and east coast of United States. So we just sort of go in a pattern: the Arctic, the Antarctic, and then everything in between, in the Mediterranean and the Caribbean, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot to unpack here. So today I thought what I would do is sort of kind of dig into the new ocean yachts a little bit more than the river cruises. So I hope that's okay with everybody. And then at another time, I might come back and talk a little bit more about river cruises when, time permits. So I don't put you to sleep today. So the owners of this company are Glenn and Karen Moroney. They're a very innovative, dynamic couple. They own this company outright. It is not publicly owned. It is private owned. This is a $900 million strong company. They just bought our own shipyard in Croatia, where they build our beautiful yachts, so that we don't have to wait behind some mega mass market cruise ship being built that's late, and then that would make our yachts late. So instead, they just went and bought their own shipyards. So in Croatia, and that's where we're building our yachts. They're a lovely couple who have put a lot of their heart and soul and love into these ocean yachts that they're building now, because they love yachting and they wanted to bring it to the travel trade to share with your clients, so that everyone can feel like they can be part of the champagne life and caviar dreams lifestyle, right? So just a really quick introduction about Emerald River Cruising. We have about 13 Emerald ships, and they are 9 Emerald River ships, and they are sort of sailing all throughout the rivers in Europe as well as Southeast Asia. And Emerald Cruises is a little different than Scenic Cruises in that the inclusiveness is not as much. So it's almost an all-inclusive river cruise line, but not completely like Scenic is. So it tends to run a little less expensive. There's no butlers on Emerald like there is on Scenic. There's only one shore excursion you have to pay for on Emerald, whereas you don't pay for any on Scenic. And the other sort of differentiator on Emerald Cruises is that we provide complimentary beer and wine with lunch and dinner, but any other time during the day, there would be beverage packages that could be purchased for other alcohol or non-alcoholic beverages, whereas on Scenic, that's all complimentary. But of course, the prices are a little more on Scenic. So I'm going to share just a quick video here with you about river cruising with Emerald, just to sort of give you a taste of what it's like on an Emerald River. quick, but it just sort of gives you an idea of what the ships look and feel like. And it also sort of shows you in the marketing that the guests on the Emerald River ships tend to skew a little younger, a little more active than the guests on Scenic, whereas Scenic tends to be a little older, a little more sophisticated, a little less active. If that helps you in any way, just to give you sort of a differentiator between the two products. And I'll talk a little bit more about Scenic in a minute. So to give you an idea of the destinations, we are sailing the Rhone, the Seine, the Douro, the Rhine, the Moselle, the Main, and the upper and lower Danube. We are no longer sailing in Russia for obvious reasons. However, we are also calling in Southeast Asia. We have a beautiful ship with Emerald that we sail in the Mekong. So although the rivers aren't that different than other cruise lines, we like to say that we are separate and apart and different from a lot of the other cruise lines, mainly because the ships themselves are so beautiful. They're really light and bright. They're newer than most of the ships that are sailing throughout Europe. They have sort of a W hotel kind of vibe, if you will, very modern, very contemporary, very clean, not dark and dated and sort of dusty looking like some of the old river ships that are out there. So I actually have done the Douro River and I've done the south of France. Now, when I was on the Emerald ship, I did the France cruise, which was absolutely beautiful. And when I was on the Scenic ship, I did the Douro, and that's in Portugal. And if no one's ever done that, I would highly recommend it, especially if you have the food and wine loving clients. I know everybody thinks they have to go to France if they love food and wine, but Portugal is also very, very well known for their wine and their food, but especially their wines. So you want to think of that as well if somebody is a real food and wine lover. So that was a very quick commercial on Emerald River Cruises. Like I said, I can take an hour, but I'm not going to because we don't have time. So now I'm going to jump ship, if you will, away from the Emerald River ship experience to the Emerald Ocean Yacht experience. So these are brand new, state-of-the-art, luxury, warm water ocean yachts. Our owners began building them about 2 years ago, and Emerald Azura, the yacht that you see on the right, was our first ship in the water, and Emerald Sakara will debut, the sister ship to Emerald Azura. She'll debut this August, and she'll be in the Caribbean. These yachts hold 100 passengers each, so they are small, they are intimate, and they lend themselves beautifully to groups, family reunions, charters, incentives, meetings, you know, doctors groups at sea, what have you. So if you have any type of business like that, charter, incentive, meeting, family, multi-generation types of groups, weddings, things like that, these ships are beautiful for that. Although, of course, we take individual bookings as well on either of these yachts. And again, they are warm weather yachts. They are not sailing the Arctic or the polar regions like the Scenic yachts that I'll talk about in a moment. These are literally Caribbean, Europe, Indian Ocean, Red Sea, Black Sea, Mediterranean, Adriatic, that type of destination. And this is just a little video of the float out of the yacht out of the harbor in Vietnam after we just had her built and sailed her for the first time. Emerald Azura. Okay, so it's just a little bit more of that. I didn't want to belabor it, but I did want to mention that when we are sailing in Southeast Asia, we do actually sail with the river ships all the way into Halong Bay. And you can see that that's where the ocean yacht was also built. She was in that area for her first sail out. So, and you got sort of an aerial view of her as well. So you can see how a yacht that holds 100 passengers, sort of how spacious it is, even though it looks small, but it's really not. This is the infinity pool aboard Emerald Azura, and it's absolutely lovely, with a lot of open deck space and little private areas to relax. And you can see a little bit better here of what's on board the vessel, how it's laid out. We have the beautiful aqua pool and cafe for some outdoor dining. We have the La Cucina Terrace for a little bit more al fresco dining. We have this spectacular marina platform that's all the way aft on the vessel, you can see. And on that marina platform, when our marina staff is working that, you have the kayaks and the paddle boards and the sea trampoline. I don't know if anybody's ever done a sea trampoline, but we actually pull it out. It's a huge trampoline. They place it right there behind the marina, and you can jump from the trampoline into the ocean. So it's actually pretty cool. We have some little sea bikes. We have, like I said, the kayaks and the paddle boards and the canoes and the sea-doos. So lots and lots of water sports if you'd like to do that. Beautiful observation lounge, the Amici Bar and Lounge, the La Cucina Dining, and the beautiful spa and wellness area on board the vessel as well. So here's sort of another bow shot of her, and here's what's included. So as on the Emerald River ships, the Emerald yachts, it's the same concept: complimentary wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. The complimentary water, of course, is always there. Included shore excursions throughout the entire voyage. There is one level, like I said, the Discover More ship to, excuse me, shore excursion. That would be an optional cost if somebody wanted to do that. And that would be something sort of over the top, like, you know, maybe an outing one evening to the Palais Liechtenstein, where you would have a private champagne reception with just our guests from Emerald Azura, and maybe a private, ballet performance or something with a local, ballet company, something like that. Of course, the Wi-Fi is always complimentary. The electric bikes, all the port charges, transfers, gratuities, all included. So it's a lovely, lovely experience. And now we're just sort of peeking into some of the public spaces on board the Emerald Azura yacht. This is the Amici Bar and Lounge. This is sort of where everybody meets before they take off for the day, and then once they come back at the end of the day and talk about what they did all day before they head off to dinner. This is the Observation Lounge, which is just a beautiful area to observe, maybe on a sea day. And then I showed you the pool before, the aqua pool. So it's quite large for a yacht this size, just really beautiful. And then the sky deck, which is there's another little plunge pool up there. You grab a cocktail, jump in the plunge pool, and be all ready with your camera for sail away. That's sort of where I envision myself when I do get to sail on this, which I haven't yet. The La Cucina Dining is one of the options on board, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then outside La Cucina, you can sit out on the terrace and have some alfresco dining. And then we have a beautiful gym on board. There are some classes, there is some instruction, or you can just use the equipment as is or join the classes at any time. So we're peeking into one of the ocean view staterooms. Now this is the room with a picture window. So these are not with balcony, but they're still quite a beautiful room. They had the square footage on here. I think they're about a little over 200 square feet to start. And then when you move up into the balcony suites, you can see how beautiful the floor to ceiling windows are. Really beautiful, comfortable beds. Moving up into the deluxe balcony suites with larger sitting areas, and the credenza area. And then the terrace suites is the next category up. And And these are really well lit. As you can see, they're on the corner. So you have the two different sets of the sliding glass doors that allow so much light in. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful stateroom. And then here's the yacht suite and the owner's suite, about 800 square feet. Very beautiful. I think we could all be quite comfortable in there, right? So here they are again, Emerald Azura and Emerald Sakara, warm water yachts, Caribbean, Indian Ocean, Red Sea, Black Sea, Mediterranean, Adriatic, gorgeous, gorgeous vessels. We're going to be taking them to the Seychelles. So we'll be announcing that probably next year as well. And we're going to be doing some Polynesia. I'm not sure if they're going to do that yet on the Emerald ships or the Scenic ships, but we will let you know. One thing to remember when you're selling the smaller yachts, the Emerald Sakara or Emerald Azura, they are so intimate. They are so small and unique the way they're built. They can zip in and out of these really off the beaten path destinations and ports throughout Europe or wherever they're calling, that the larger ships just cannot maneuver in and out of. So we have some incredibly unique and original itineraries if you have the client that really wants to do something very, very different. Again, we're going to the Caribbean. This is brand new for us. We're very excited about it. We have a lot of different itineraries, way too many for me to go over with you right now, but we cover almost all parts of the Caribbean with the vessels. And again, this is where we really make good use of that marina platform. So we're going to and from the shore with the little open air boat that you see on the left. We're putting out the sea trampoline. Remember I was telling you about that? That's the big blue inflatable that you see. We've got the sea-doos, the kayaks, the paddle boards. It's all there for you complimentary on the marina platform. And there's a closer sort of a computer generated version, but I just like to show this because it really shows that trampoline, which just, I can't wait to actually try that. Lots of snorkel kits on board. They have the floating mats, the trampoline, the sea bobs. So you'll be able to really impress your clients, the ones that like the ocean and the water sports. So a couple of the itineraries you can see here in the Caribbean, some beautiful ports of call from Guadeloupe to St. Lucia to Aruba, Puerto Rico, some gorgeous, gorgeous ports of call. Another interesting itinerary with the Grenadines, Tobago, Bridgetown, and then Antigua, St. Martin, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, the Grenadines. Beautiful, beautiful itineraries. I was really excited when they brought these out because I didn't think we were going to be calling on Caribbean, but it's been very, very popular. Panama Canal has been incorporated as well into these itineraries on the Emerald yachts. So St. John, St. Kitts, so some beautiful, beautiful itineraries. There's so many of them. They threw a whole bunch of them in here. Joost van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, beautiful, beautiful itineraries. So that puts the bow on Emerald Cruises, both river and yacht. Okay, just a little bit of information on both of those products. And now I'm going to jump over to the Scenic side of our company. So this is the Scenic brand versus what I was just talking about earlier, the Emerald brand. So Scenic also sails throughout all the rivers throughout Europe, the same as Emerald does, and Southeast Asia as well. This is a little snippet of a Scenic river cruise to give you an idea.
With Scenic, it's more than river cruising. It's a spaceship experience. It's more than good food and wine. It's an unrivaled culinary journey. It's more than special events. It's enriching cultural experiences exclusive to Scenic. It's more than shore excursions. It's choosing your own pace. It's more than healthy choices. It's nourishment of mind, body and soul. It's more than unpacking once, butler service, gourmet delicacies, spacious suites, health and wellness, personalised travel, a 5-star river cruise. Scenic's truly all-inclusive luxury is in a class of its own. Scenic.
So you get an idea, even with the marketing in that piece, it's just a little more laid back, a little more sophisticated, a little more inclusive. It does tend to skew a little older. When I say a little older, I mean like 60 to 70 versus Emerald, which is maybe 45 to 65 kind of thing. So, you know, just a little older, not quite as active, and a little more costly because it is all inclusive. So again, the rivers from Portugal on the Douro to Bordeaux. We also go farther north up into Paris. We're doing the upper and lower Danube and all of the beautiful areas in between. Yes, we see the tulips. We'll take you to Switzerland. We'll take you to Nuremberg. We'll take you to the beaches of Normandy. So almost anything your clients desire, we are going there. Other than Italy, we're not sailing the Po yet. I'm not sure why, but we're not there. So under the Scenic brand, these are the ocean yachts of Scenic versus the river ships I was just talking about with Scenic. So now we're talking about the ocean yachts. Now, Scenic Eclipse 1 came out almost 2 years ago. And as I mentioned earlier, she is circumnavigating the globe between both polar regions. So we will show you the penguins and the polar bears with Scenic, because we do the North Pole, where you'll see the polar bears, and then we sail all the way down to the Antarctic, where you see the penguins. So her sister ship, the Scenic Eclipse 2, will be out in August. These are 228 guest capacity vessels, whereas the Emerald ocean yachts I showed you just a moment ago were 100. So these are 2x the size, and these vessels contain a lot more bells and whistles than the Emerald yachts, just by virtue of their size. And you'll see what I mean as I go forward talking about the yachts here. So Scenic Eclipse 2, as I mentioned, is coming out this summer. They made some enhancements. I'm not even exactly sure what they enhanced. Maybe they made the couches larger outside on the deck. I don't know, because Scenic Eclipse 1 is so gorgeous herself. I'm going to show you a Scenic Eclipse yacht right now, so you will get an idea of what this is all about if you decide to talk about this with any one of your clients.
Scenic Eclipse, the world's first discovery yachts. Scenic Eclipse, the world's first discovery yachts.
So I don't know about you, but every time I see that, it just completely gives me the chills. And yes, I have sailed on Scenic Eclipse, and it is pretty magnificent. They spared nothing on the technology and the construction of this world-class vessel. She's a Polar Class 6 icebreaker. Doesn't get better than that. She can pull right onto the icebergs. She has a propulsion system that is absolutely state-of-the-art. And I'll give you a little bit more detail on some of that stuff in a minute. But the suites are just ultra luxury. Even the standard balcony suite is absolutely beautiful and comfortable. And there are so many indulgent spaces all over the vessel to enjoy, that your clients don't even need to buy the top suite. You know, they can just get the standard balcony, and it's gorgeous. There is 24-hour butler service on board, and every category gets butler service access if they would like it. The whiskey bar that you're looking at up in the top right-hand corner has 130 different whiskeys on board. And of course, the Scenic Discovery and Rich and Free Choice options are endless, that are all complimentary. We have an incredible team of destination specialists on board that are there to assist all of our guests. You might have caught the picture at the end of the video. It was the mudroom with all the jackets and the boots. That's how our guests get all suited up before they jump into those Zodiacs, for our destination team to take them out onto the icebergs and or whatever shore excursion they're going to be enjoying when they're on board Scenic Eclipse. So this slide is just sort of a real small slice of some of the dining options on board. There's 10 dining options on board Scenic Eclipse. Coco's is Asian fusion, and there's also a raw sushi bar in there. And behind Coco's Asian fusion, there's also a teppanyaki grill that only seats 8 people every night. And there's something very special and original in there served every single night. Lumiere in the top left is a French restaurant. This dining experience takes a little while because it's so many courses, and they start you off at the champagne bar that you can see behind the tables there when you enter, and they give you a little amuse-bouche hors d'oeuvre and a glass of champagne, and then they walk you to your table where you experience a multi-course French meal for dinner. The Yacht Club is probably the most popular dining venue on board. It's more of a buffet style, but it is not a buffet where you dig in and help yourself. You are served, but the options are endless and fabulous. And it's breakfast and lunch only, where all the other venues are either breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or just dinner. Elements is the chef's table. And this is inside the Elements restaurant, but there's a little secret black door. And once you open it, you're in this little room with those 10 white chairs. And I was able to be invited to this dinner one night. It's the chef's table. It was unbelievable what they did with food in there. We only can do a chef's table 2 nights during any voyage because it takes 2.5 days to prepare each chef's table meal. So it's pretty incredible. And of course, it's chef and captain's choice of guest, but they usually start from the top suites down when they do the inviting, which of course makes sense because they've paid so much more. So the standard veranda suites and the deluxe veranda suites on Scenic Eclipse yachts range from 344 to 366 square feet. Very comfortable, very spacious, very modern, absolutely beautiful. I stayed in one. This is the Grand Deluxe Veranda Suite. So this is one step above the standard suite, and the only difference is the square footage, a little larger, 409 to 430 square feet. So really, really beautiful. Nice large sitting area, beautiful large outdoor balcony. The spa suites on Scenic Eclipse are beautiful. These en-suites are just absolutely gorgeous the way they're designed. You don't even need to leave these bathroom suites once you board. They're so lovely. I could just grab a book and sit in the bathtub. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The panorama suites are up to 1,184 square feet with nice large balconies out in front. And then the Grand Panorama Suite, this is another view of it. Lots and lots of light and windows and sliding doors. Beautifully, beautifully appointed. And then our owner's penthouse suite is 2,099 square feet. And when you add the outdoor wraparound balcony, it goes up to about 2,800 square feet. So again, quite spacious, quite beautiful. So this is sort of the overview of the circumnavigation of the world that we do on 7 continents, among 85 voyages, visiting 54 countries and about 357 ports of call. So this is everywhere Scenic is exploring. And this is part of the reason why we call them expedition and discovery yachts, because it's not just cruising. We are doing some really incredible shore excursions and discovery, especially in the polar regions. If you have the clients that really have been, you know, having this destination on their bucket list, the Arctic or the Antarctic, I would definitely suggest you offer them Scenic Eclipse experience. Not inexpensive, but absolutely a very memorable, incredible experience for them. So the excursions that we have, I was just mentioning, again, we have the 28 destination specialists that actually live on board with us in the Arctic and the Antarctic region, because we are taking our guests to some really incredible places. The ships themselves, although I'll probably destroy the fabulous technology if I try to explain it, but just a couple things that I can tell you. The stabilization on these yachts is over 2 times what they would be on any other yacht this size anywhere in the world. I never even knew when we left port. It's such a smooth ride. Incredible. These ships also are very environmentally conscious, if you will. They took the environment into consideration when building the vessels. They burn a hybrid diesel fuel that allows the ships to emit literally, basically, vapor, water. It's so clean. The ships also are able to hold their navigational position on any ocean throughout the world without dropping an anchor to upset the ocean seabed. They're able to maintain position without the anchor. So it's pretty incredible stuff. It really is. So I like to show this because it's the first time Scenic Eclipse called in Antarctica. You can see the ship is able to actually navigate right up onto the glacier. So the ship hadn't even had the engines turned off yet. Nobody was down the gangway yet. And that first emperor penguin had come and sat there and just sat there all day. And the captain finally let everybody off, and they told them to maintain their distance. And that penguin just sat there. And then somebody else in the family came along later, I think looking for the father emperor penguin. But so yeah, the ship does beautifully in this part of the world. That's what she was designed for. Either Antarctica or the Arctic. These ships are glorious, and they do a fabulous job of navigating these regions. And here they are, as I mentioned earlier. These are all PhD, master's degree, doctorates. These people work specifically for Scenic, and they live, eat, breathe, sleep, dream this part of the world, the polar regions, and they make sure that your clients have an incredible experience when they sail with us on Scenic Eclipse. So about those helicopters, we have 2 state-of-the-art helicopters on board each Scenic Eclipse vessel. We have 1 Eclipse vessel out now, and remember the other one's coming out in August. Each one has 2 garages for 2 helicopters on each ship. These helicopters can take off and land while the ship is sailing, and the captain does that a lot. He has the pilots go out and search for some really off the beaten path little area or glacier that's never been touched. So he will work his way over there with the ship, and then our guests can get off and experience that like no one else in the world has ever experienced. So the helicopters do require an extra fee. They're the only excursion along with the submarine that is not included. They hold 6 people. There's 2 of them, and they do about 4 to 5 trips a day. So everybody that wants to do it will get the chance. The cost is about $600 to $1,000 per person, depending on how long you go, 30 minutes, an hour and a half. So again, it's not inexpensive, but it is a once in a lifetime experience. And you don't have to do it. Nobody has to do it. It's just if they want to. And it's organized once our guests are on board. We never know, because of weather, local permits, environment, whether or not we can actually fly the helicopter. So it's not something that can be pre-booked. It's all done on board. So if you don't like flying above, you can dive below on our Neptune submarine. This is a state-of-the-art submarine that also holds 6 guests. The new Scenic Eclipse 2 submarine will hold 8 guests. So we've enlarged it a little bit. These submarines can dive to about 900 feet. However, the pilots have discovered that 400 feet is about where they're seeing most of the wildlife. As a matter of fact, if this interests you, or you have clients that are interested in marine life and oceanography or anything like that, our pilots took the submarine down it was about a year ago now in Antarctica, and they discovered these weird pods of what looked like jellyfish, but they didn't look like the jellyfish that we know are jellyfish. Nevertheless, they took lots and lots of photography of these schools of what looked like jellyfish, and they turned in the photos to the Neptune Society of Antarctica, or the Oceanography Society, or whoever it is in Antarctica that keeps a library on these species. And they credited Scenic Neptune submarine for discovering 3 new species of jellyfish that had never been photographed before. So that was kind of cool. So our guests got to be part of that discovery as well. So that was pretty interesting. So this is the Mac Daddy now of submarines. This is the new one. This is going to be the Scenic Eclipse 2 submarine that we're building. Now it's only showing 4 people, but that's because you're only getting sort of a half of a shot. It will hold 8 people, including the pilot for the new submarine. And this one's being built in Miami right now because Europe doesn't care where the submarine is built, but the United States does. So because Scenic Eclipse 1's submarine that I just showed you in the last slide was not built in the United States, we can't submerge her anywhere in the United States. We learned that after we had her built. So now, lesson learned, this new submarine can dive anywhere on the planet. So there's that mud room I was talking about. Your clients get to keep and take home that blue parka. We don't give them the boots. They wouldn't want the boots, but that's the mud room where they get all suited up. And then our discovery team comes in and helps them onto those Zodiacs, where we try to keep it to a maximum of 6 to 8 people on the Zodiacs. We also have our own specially made paddle boards. I don't think you'd find me paddle boarding near a glacier in Antarctica, but many people do it. These are extra buoyant, extra wide, extra sturdy. We've never lost anybody. And so the paddle boarding is an option, even in Antarctica. Our discovery team will even do the polar plunge with your clients if they want. Again, not something I'd be doing, but many people do love to do that polar plunge when they're in these regions. There's also kayaking. So lots and lots of excursion opportunities, from the helicopters to the submarines, to the Zodiacs, to the kayaks, to the paddle boards, or the polar plunge. Still shore excursions available, even in these very remote parts of the world. And this sort of wraps it up. The end of the day, the kayaks have come back, the helicopters landing, the submarines probably already emerged and been tucked away in the garage. And so this is sort of a little story about, you know, what everybody did that day in Antarctica. So again, more Caribbean. We are taking these gorgeous larger yachts, the Scenic Eclipse yachts, to the Caribbean as well. And we're doing very well with these, and we're even doing a Boston to Nassau. And this is a Montego Bay, iconic Panama Canal and Caribbean itinerary. And again, we also have the water sports marina on Scenic Eclipse. I showed you the water sports marina on the Emerald, Azura, and Sakara yachts. Well, we also have the marina with all the water toys on the Scenic Eclipse yachts as well. And even though the Scenic Eclipse yachts are larger than the Emerald yachts, they're 228 guests, they're still small. They still get into some very, very unique and off the beaten path boutique ports of call that the larger mega mass market ships just, no way, they can't get in. So we're offering some beautiful itineraries that your clients may not have been on before, just due to the size of these yachts. So this is a promotion. I know the date is expired, but I just wanted to let you know that very often we will have some very nice promotions going for you with free air or reduced air, sometimes bonus commissions, things like that. So you want to go on our website and you want to go in the travel agent portal and register, because you're going to get all kinds of tools and information and offers and details, and you can book online, you know, and just really sort of school yourself a lot more than I even have time to do now. So we have a lot of people all over the country taking care of you. But like I said, right now, I think I am the one rep for Archer Travel, but we can do secondary phone fields. And I'll discuss that with Archer Travel if you want to have your own local representation. But right now, I cover the Nevada and California and Arizona and Hawaii regions that you see there. And I'm local in Southern California. So there you go. And it had, I don't know why they gave me this slide, because that was another account. So I apologize for that. It's thank you, Archer, not Avoya. I took up a lot of time. So maybe there's some questions or comments.
Hello, Nancy. Thank you so much for that information. The ships were beautiful. I'm going to try to save me some money, because it looks like I'm going to need some money in order to go. That will definitely be on one of my
Well, book a group, and then you get a tour conductor and you can go for free.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm going to do is ask for the agents, if you guys have any questions for Nancy, to go ahead and put them in the chat box, and I'll read them off, and we'll get those questions answered for you. Again, thank you so much. That was some great information.
You're welcome. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. And like I said, because it's a dual branded company, I have another at least hours worth of information that you should know, but it's just too much all at once. So
Okay. Is there a website to register with your company? And
yes,
is training?
Yes, scenicusa.com. All right. And Scenic has the C after the S. SC, you can see it in the logo. scenicusa.com. Travel agent portal up in the right-hand corner. Go in there and register, and boom, you're going to be part of the family.
Okay. I have another one. How many cabins are considered a group?
Okay, great question. And I love it when people ask me, because I specialize in groups. I do a lot of wine groups. So 5 cabins. And because our yachts are pretty small, and so are the river ships, we tend not to just write up a bunch of group agreements and throw it all out there and hold a bunch of space that we don't know is going to get promoted. So if you've got, 4 cabins and you're pretty sure you're going to get another one, reach out, let me know. And depending on the sailing, I will request a group for you, and then I can help you promote it with a flyer or a virtual cruise night or an in-person cruise night if you're geographically, near or not too far anyway. So yeah, 5 cabins, is the answer to that.
Okay. Is there a payment plan option for that? Like a certain deposit, or does it matter based on the amount of the ship? So
we do not charge you to block a group. There's no harm, no foul, no penalty. When you take a group agreement and you read it and you like it and you go, okay, you sign it and you send it back. And when you sign it, all that means is, okay, I'm going to try to promote this within the next 30 days. That's all we want to know. And if you don't, and you say, I can't get fine, we just flip the switch. So, and the deposit is just a regular deposit, that you would pay if you were making an FIT booking.
Okay.
Yeah, just, within 72 hours.
Okay, and then I have one. Are there any kid lounges?
No.
Okay. It looks like go only ships.
Listen, it's the elephant in the room, and I will say it. We are really not a Disney product. We're not an NCL product. We don't have triples. We don't have quads. Now, remember, this company started as a luxury motor coach tour company in Australia 38 years ago. So they branched out in the European market, doing the luxury river cruising with Scenic first. And river cruising just isn't really amenable to a lot of kids. It's just not. It never has been historically. Now that they've branched out into the luxury yachts, I know many cruise lines accommodate a lot of kids in different ways, and it's great. But these yachts are small. They do not lend themselves to children. So I have to kind of say no all around to that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Somebody is asking for the page that had the promotion. Are you able to, if we get the travel agents to give the emails, send them some literature on the ships?
So do you want a Facebook link? I can send you the link for our Facebook page. Is that what
Okay.
you want? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Who do you want me to send that to?
You can send it to me. And you can send it to me. And also what I'm gonna do is ask the agents also to put their email in the chat box. And then we'll get some information over to you.
Or yeah, if you want to send me everybody's email, I can just do
Okay.
a blast out to everybody
Yes,
with
we'll
some
do that.
current flyers and the Facebook link and all that.
Okay, great. Okay. We already answered that. How do we sign up? We already gave you the link for that. Marketing material that will be sent out to you guys in the email blast as well. I have one that says, would it be safe to say, go up. I'm sorry about that. Let me try to read your email. Would it be safe to say the target age group is between 35 and 60-year-olds?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I would say 35 to 55, 60 on Emerald, more or less, and 50 to 75 on Scenic, more or less, but plenty of ages on either side of those numbers. And by the way, it's not like we've never had children on board. I just want you to know that as well. So I would say that, if the grandma's taking the grandchild, usually, 10 years and above is great, because when they're really young, there's nothing to do for them,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, so.
Okay. I'm not seeing any more. If you guys have any more questions, please type them in. Also, don't forget to type your email in as well, so we can get that information to Nancy. Okay.
Yeah, and then once you send me everybody's email, including yours, I'll put some stuff together with some attachments and some links and just send it all out to you, and then you can use what you like and disregard the rest, but it'll have more information for you that might help you and make sense.
Okay, what is the shortest and longest selling that you have as far as days? I'm assuming that's what you mean.
We do some 5-day Christmas market cruises. And then the longest cruise we have in general is about 21 days. But what we're seeing is a lot of people are doing some back-to-backs on they're either jumping off an ocean cruise and joining a river cruise with us, or vice versa, river first, ocean next, or 2 oceans on the same ship, or 2 rivers on 2 different river ships. I mean, lots of options there for back-to-back. And we'll build in extra savings for you when you do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's definitely great information. And again, Miss Nancy, I want to thank you again for your time. It is just awesome to get this information. I know some of us are selling ocean cruises and river cruises, so this is great information. And I do have another question for you. What is the biggest difference between ocean and river cruising?
Well, the ocean and the river, I guess.
Okay.
So I've worked for many ocean lines. As I mentioned earlier, I love them all. I think I wasn't tuned into river cruising. I'm like, oh, what is that? And then I went on a river cruise a couple of years ago with a friend who worked for a river cruise, and she was able to bring me. And I was like, oh, I really like this.
Yeah.
For me, you're so close with a river cruise. You're so close to everything, and it's so easy. So I want to say easier and closer. Like, you pull in, boom, you get off that little river gangway, and there's a museum right there.
Okay.
Or there's a bazaar right there. I mean, yes, we have the luxury motor coaches that also take you farther out to the vineyards or the castles or what have you. But when you're on a cruise ship, it's just a bigger, what's the word? Like, it just takes longer, get off the ship, find your way into town, that kind of thing. Whereas rivers, if you really like to see the culture and the history and the people, and go grab a local, coffee and croissant, it's right now.
Okay.
That's what I like.
Yeah, okay, let's see.
And no one can tell you they get seasick on a river ship. It doesn't
Right.
happen.
Okay.
It doesn't happen. And you get to go through the locks. I don't know if you've been through the locks, but when you go on the river cruise, you have to go through the locks, like the Panama Canal, you know?
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's ever done that in your group, but it's really interesting. Like the ship has to lower down and then go through the lock and then go all the way back up. And it's a super interesting experience.
Okay. I never experienced that, so I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Okay. It says, have any honeymooners sailed before with the Emerald or Scenic?
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. A lot of them.
I can see that happening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now what's happening on the yachts is some of them are bringing their wedding party, or some of them are, some of them that are married and they have kids, they're bringing the kids after the second marriage or whatever. So, oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of thank yous, great information. I don't see any more questions. So I do want to thank you, Miss Nancy, for coming on and giving us this great information. We will definitely forward you over the emails of the people that want to stay connected to you guys. And on behalf of Mrs. Our 1-star platinum, Mrs. Nina Jackson Mitchell, we would like to thank you guys for attending our Wednesday walkthrough. This call is officially over. Have a great day, you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nancy.